Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Right now, let's start with. Right. Okay. We already talked about how to write a class, and then let's memorize what we have done so far. And then we know that everything in Java resides inside a class, right? Inside a class, what we can have the variables and the methods, right? Therefore, now here we don't know yet about the variables. Therefore, I'm going to declare a method. And we have talked about a special method, which we call as the main method, which start the execution of the Java program. Therefore, let's declare a main method, public static, void main. That's a signature. We need to have a string array called args. Right. Okay, now here we only know up to now, to print something. We can use the method system.out.println or print method to display something. And we only know about displaying hello world yet. Right. Now this is how you print something. Okay. Now let me say, right, now let's, right. Right, now I want you to be the compiler, and then I want you to figure out the errors which I have made in this one. Let's say in my desktop, I'm going to save this as test.java, test.java, right. Okay, now this is my test.java file, and in the meantime, I'm going to get the command prompt open, and I'm not going to execute it yet. The compile it yet. Here I'm going to write, okay, done. Right now, be the compiler and tell me the errors or the mistakes we have in this code. Okay, quickly figure out and tell me the errors we have done, the mistakes we have done. Be the compiler. Now you are the compiler.
Class, class.
The class keyword, yes?
වැරදි සර්. ඒක class එකේ නෝනේ මේ
Simple
simple.
C. All right, yes, very good. It has to start with simple C. Yes, good. What else? Okay, I have a name as class test me.
Semicolon sir.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I have made a small change as well. Test me. The class. Okay, now here. Okay. Yes. What are the errors we have? I want you to talk, please. Okay, because we all are here to learn, right? Therefore, let's talk. Shavindi.
Wrong sir. It is wrong because there is an underscore or something.
Yeah?
Underscore something character in first line.
Okay, in line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these are the line number. You can tell the line number first. This is the line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which line number? Line number 2. Okay.
Line number 2.
Right. Here.
So then the name dancing bracket එක.
Closing bracket. Is it? Right. Okay. Here you have open bracket, but here also you have open bracket. You haven't closed. Right. Okay. For this bracket, Okay, we have one, but then yes, we have missed one closing bracket. Right. What else?
Yeah, it should be simple letters in public static, but I mean in the second line.
All things should be simple. Public, static, void. Main also simple.
Yes, sir.
Right. Main. Then
Third line semicolon.
Rukshani.
Third line semicolon.
Third line. Okay. At the end, we have to have a semicolon. Good. What else? Sadevna? What else is missing, Sadevna? Oh, what's wrong? Yeah.
So in the class test me, there is a space in between.
In the class, for line number one, is it?
Yes, test me, there is a space in between.
You can't have spaces. Is very good, very important, right? You can't have spaces in the class name. Remember, right? Please write down. You can't have spaces, right? Therefore, if you really want to have uh, a big, or you want to have two words or something, right now, either use camel case. I have showed you, right? Is it okay? Otherwise, I'll show you now. Camel case, you can have. Uh, right now, what are the cases else we have? We have camel case, and then okay, we'll discuss. Right. Then yes, you can't have. For the time being, remember that you can't have spaces in the class name. Okay, is there any other issues in line number one? Or line number two? Hiruni? Anyone, please. I'm not gonna point any of you. Anyone, please quickly tell me. Right, do we have any issues here?
That S should be capital.
So string ගාව තියෙන
It should be capital S, yes, right. Okay, is there any other issues? Anyone? Well, this line, is it okay? System?
some is simple capitals.
It should be
Capital.
capital S, right? It should be capital S, right? Okay. Let's compile and see and tell me whether is there any issues. Quickly compile and tell me is this okay? All the errors are fixed.
There is no any other answers. This should be compiled. No.
All right. Hello. Yeah. Sorry.
It should
No
be.
any errors. It will get compiled. Is it? Right. Okay. Right now, let's see how it's gonna get compiled. Like now, Java C, test of Java. Right. Okay, let's run it and tell me how it works.
Java tested Java. Java tested Java. Java class name test me. Test me. Test me.
Right. Then, yes, right. What is the problem now? Now here I have mentioned there's a class as test me, and then here I have compiled the class, and then I'm trying to run Java test, right? Unfortunately, there's nothing called Java test, right? Now in the desktop, right now you can see here we have testme.class. Now, therefore, here it will generate the class according to the name we have declared. Therefore, it should be test me without .class extension. Now this is how it works, right? Now I want to assign some values, right? Now this is a method, we know that already. Inside the method, I'm gonna declare some values and see. Right, now I want to assign some values and see, I want to assign, let's say, variable called name, and I want to assign the name. Right, then, okay, I want to assign a name. Then in order to assign a name, I want to use a variable. Okay, quickly everyone please search what is a variable. What is a variable in Java and how to create a variable. Quickly find out and tell me.
Variables contain a container to save data. Save changeable the changeable thing.
Right, variable is a container,
Changeable
is it?
thing.
Is that what you tell? What is it? Variable is used to?
Store data. Container.
Variable is used to store data. Right now, beforehand, like now, okay, right now, let's say while you are learning content, you need to write some comments, and then the things you want to write down, and you don't want to involve when you're compiling, and then you want to have some notes for you inside the code itself, right? Then, right now, here, if you want to have some notes for you, you could use comments. Right now, in Java, allows you to put comments. Now, the comments could be used to explain the Java code, or which will increase or improve the readability of your code. And then those could be, even though you have code line or statement which has some errors, then you can ignore that when you are compiling it, when you are running it, by making it as a comment. Then comments you can use to right now to get and help when you read, like whoever the user who gonna read the code in order to give proper idea, you can use the comments. And also, let's say now this code, like this line no longer required, then you can make it as a comment. Then when you compile, this line will get ignored. And the same time, if you want to write a note down, okay, this is how you declare a class. Now you could write a comment like declare a class called test me. Right now, you can write in your own words what this line does. And then thereafter, this is the main method. You can write the main method. Likewise, then you can have your own comments, whatever you want. Why are you using this line? If you want, you can even in front of the line, you can say print hello or display hello world. Right. Likewise, you can have your own notes. Right now, this is what you call as making a line. Therefore, in order to make a line as a comment, you need to use two slashes. Then, therefore, if you use these two slashes, the entire line will be ignored in Java. Therefore, they will not get executed, will not get compiled. Remember, write it down. Therefore, this is how you make a comment. If you use two forward slashes, that is how you make that any text or any line will be ignored. That means from this point to the end of the line, from this point to the end of the line will be ignored by Java. If you use two forward slashes, then from that point to the end of the line will be ignored by Java. Now that is how you use single line comments, right? At the same time, now you want to declare a paragraph or you have multiple lines, you want to explain something. Therefore, if you want to have multi-line comments right now, here, this is how you make a single line comment. Single line comment. And if you want to have multi-line comments right now, you could have forward slash asterisk and forward slash. Now that is how you use the multi-line comments. Now this is how you starts with this and this is how you mention a multi-line comments. Right, any text, right, you can have any text in from these two symbols is a multi-line comment. Right now, this is how you, if you have a multiple lines, then you could use this from starting point to this point, everything inside this will get commented, will be ignored. Now, this is how you make entire any line as a comment by using two forward slashes. If you have multiple lines to make it as a comment, you have to use this. Right now, I'm going to use what is a variable here. Now you can say variable is a variable. What is a variable? Now we're going to declare a variable and then you need to have a variable. Variables are used to store data values. Variables are used to store data values. In Java, there are two types of variables. In Java right now, let's say here, variables are used to store data values. There are two types of variables we call as primitive data types and reference data types. Variables are used to store data values, and there are two types of variables, primitive versus reference data types. Primitive versus reference data types. And what are the primitive data types? If you want to discuss about primitive data types,
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Do we need to save the code using the same class name? I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. Right now, for the time being, we have just used the class keyword, no? And then if you, by sometimes you might have seen a public class. If you have seen a public class, yes, the file name and this name should be the same. Right now, in this case, I'm not using as a public, no. Therefore, it doesn't matter. I have used the class name, file name as test, but the class name as test me. But in order to avoid the confusion, yes, we better go ahead with the same name as the class name.
So,
Okay.
what is the meaning of public class and difference between public class
Yes,
and
okay. I will briefly tell you. And public is an access modifier, and then this will provide you access. Right now, which class can access which class can see this one. Likewise, it is mentioned right now. For an example, if it is a public garden and a private garden, Let's say there is a person A, this is person A, and there is a private guard of person B. Is the person A or the society, can the society access or can see the private guard?
No.
No. The society cannot access because why? They don't have the access. But if there's a public guard, if it is a public one, yes, everyone can see, everyone can access, everyone can access. Why? It is a public access. You provide public access, you provide everyone access. Right now, okay, now the public, private, likewise, there are access modifiers. When you're creating classes, whether you want others to interact with your class, then you make it as a public class. Or whether you don't want others to interact with the members of your class, then you make it as a private. Likewise, there are different access modifiers. Then give me some time, and then we will discuss in detail what is public, what is private, what is default, likewise, what are the access modifiers. For the time being, just forget about public,
Okay, sir.
right?
Thank you.
And, okay,
Thank you.
and then we'll go step by step. Gradually, we will talk. Right. Yes, you better have the same name as the class name. File name and the class name, let's have the same. Right, primitive data types. We were talking about primitive data types. There are 8. There are 8 primitive data types available in Java. Okay, what are those? Right, there are 4 integer types we need to discuss: byte, short, int, and the long. Byte, short, int, long, there are 4 integer types, and then 2 floating points: float, double, and then we have characters, char, and then boolean. Right, we have boolean, right? Therefore, remember there are 8 primitive data types available: byte, short, int, long, integer types, float, double, floating points, characters, and the boolean. These are the 8 primitive data types available in Java, right? Remember now, if you want to have a description or something, then you can have a multi-line comment. You can have a multi-line comment, right? Therefore, please, you can have a multi-line comment, right? If you want to have a small description right now. At the end of the comment, you can have, right, asterisk and / to close the comment. Right now, these will not get executed. These will not get executed. Now, let me show you right now, even if you have not put this, okay, if you have not put that, or even if you have not put this as a comment, and if you try to compile this, now you will get an error. See, multiple errors. Variables are the semicolon expected. Like even you can see at line number 10, right now this is where line number 10 and the semicolon expected. Even let's say if I make it as the single line comment, right now even if I run this now, again you will get an error from line number 12 onwards. Right now line number 11 and 12. See, this is line number 11, semicolon expected, and then line number 12 we have errors because this, when you make this as a single line comment, only this line will get ignored. Therefore, if you want to make it as a multiple line comment, / asterisk / then that is how you make it as a multi-line comment. Right now, this is how I have compiled. Now it should have generated a class called test. Therefore, let's run it and see how it goes. Right now, Java test. Now you can see just display hello world because only there's something only I have needs to display hello world. And this is just a reference. Yes, now you guys said variables are containers. Variables are containers to store data values, right? And then in Java, basically you can have 2 type of variables: primitive and reference. Okay, what do you mean by a reference data type? Okay, now string is a reference data type. That means by creating a class, you refer to another class and create the objects. That's what you call as a reference variable. Right now, let's talk about string variables as well. That is a reference variable. But now you need to know when you are creating variables or when you are using variables, how to use it. How to declare a variable. Can someone tell me how to declare a variable? Sorry.
By specifying the data type followed by the
Yes,
variable.
right. In order to declare a variable, you have to use the variable type first and the variable name. Right now, in order to create a variable declaration, you need to have the type of the variable and the name of the variable type and the variable name. Right now, here we have some few types we have written here. Let's say integer, age. That is how you declare a variable. And string, we know the string data type, string name. Right now, this is how you declare a variable. Right now, this is how you declare a variable. Now, you know how to make a comment. I'm going to remove the comments for the time being in order to make this clear. You better have your own notes or own comments as per your wish. Right. Right now, here, I'm going to declare a variable. And that's variable. I'm going to use string. The data type is string. That's not a primitive data type. And I'm going to have a variable called name. That's how I'm declaring a name value, a variable. Variable type and the variable name. If you want to assign, now this is how you what you call as declare a variable called variable. Declare a string variable called name. Right. Now, if you want to assign a value, you can have name. And if it's a string, remember, in order to make it as a string, you need to put double quotes in Java. Jane Doe. Right now, we could put a semicolon at the end. Right now, here we can assign a value to this variable name. Right now, this is what you call declaring, and this is what you call assigning. Assign a value to the name variable. Assigning a value to the name variable. Right now, this is how we do it. And you could do this in one line as well. Let's say string address is equals Colombo right now. Right now, you can assign initialize. Now, we call this as initializing, declaring and initializing. Now, you declare and assign a value. You declare and assign a value to a variable. Right now, you don't do that. Now you have the variable name, an equal sign, variable type, name, equal sign, and the value. You initialize the values. Right now, this is how you assign a value. Right now, integer age equals 15. Right now, this is how you declare variable and assign a value to the variable. Right, okay, try out this, how to declare variable and how to assign a value to the variable, and then thereafter, let's see how to print. For the time being, if you want to print the name variable, you just type inside the brackets name. Right now, if you want to print the address variable, you just print the variable name, address. And if you want to print the age, you just print the age. And then you save it, then you compile, then you run it. Java, test.java, right. Then it should display Jane Doe 15. This is how you assign, create a variable and assign a value. Try out quickly, please. Right. Now let's see how to work with the variable. Right now, you know how to display the variable name as it is. Right now, here, if you want to display the name is this, likewise. You can do it by, right now, I'm gonna remove this as well. Jane Doe, and then I'm gonna print the name. And then I'm gonna print the name is, and if you want to print the variable value. You want to print the name is, name is, name is, and then you can have space here and then plus. And then it will display the value of the name is, it will print the text name is, and then value. Now let's run it and see. Then it will display name is changed. Likewise, you will be able to display. Right. Now here, what I want to do is here right now have a variable called number 1, which is equals to 10, and the number 2, which is equals to 20. Let's say integer type. Now same type of variables therefore are right now 1 and number 2. Right. Then what I want you to do is I want you to display 10 plus 20 is equals to 30. 10 plus 20 is equals to 30. I want you to display. Figure out how to do it and tell me right now. Not just print 10 value. I won't just print 10 and 20. I just want you to print the value of the number 1 variable and the number 2 variable. That's what I want to do. Try out and tell me how to do this. Right now, how can you do that? Right now, okay, if you want to print the 10 value, yes, now that's quite simple, right? Now, if you want to print the number 10, let's copy this and then paste it here. Right now, the 10 value is in the number 1 variable. Plus, you need to have the plus value, and then you need to have the plus operator, right? And plus, and then you need to have the number 2 variable. And equal sign and plus, we need to have the number 1 and number 2. Right now, here, if we have number 1 plus number, okay. Right now, before I'm going into this, I'm going to display just total is and I'm going to have that number 1 plus number 2. Right now, let's see what's going to happen. If you print it, what would be the output? What do you think? Now it's gonna display total is 1020,020. What has happened now? It has appended the value to the text total is value of 10 and again the value of 20. Now that's why it displays like 10 plus 20 because it has concatenated, it has appended. Therefore, in order to avoid that, make sure you put a bracket, then it will inside the brackets, it will process it first, and then 10 plus 20 become 30, and then the total would be displayed as total is 30. Right now, here, if you want to display that 10 plus 20 equals 30, we can do, and then even here you can have total equals integer total equals number 1 plus number 2. And here instead of this, you could have the total variable. Now we can have number 1 variable plus number 2 variable equal sign plus total variable value, right? Then it would display 10 plus 20, 30. Now here it would display the value of variable number 1, value of variable number 2 equals the variable value of the total. That's how we're gonna get displayed, right? Now try to assign a value for now all the types we have discussed, and then we have byte variable, we have a short, byte short, and then we have integer, and then we have a long, and then we have float, we have double, we have char, and boolean. Right, assign a value to each variable and then print it and see how it works. Quickly do it and send me the answer via chat, please.
So can I share my screen? Sir,
Sorry?
Can I share my screen? Sir,
Yes, please.
I have a problem, sir.
You can now. You can share the screen now.
So this is my output devices, but it's not valid.
Right, now the problem here, say name, age, and okay, now what you have done, right. Okay, line number. Okay, others, can someone tell me the error here? Can someone tell me the error here? System.out.println is a method here. You cannot assign a value here. Well, how can you do it like this? No, you can't. In line number what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's an error. You can't do it. Okay, refer to the my right now, and then you can see you can't have the equal sign. You can't just have plus operators with the variables. And then the name is a string variable, age is a string variable, address also. Right. Okay. Now remove this equal sign and that line here system.out.println equals and remove it. Compile. Compile and see. What is the output? We can only see the notepad.
So one error.
Just go to the screen share and then select the screen as the option. We can only see the notepad. Right. Okay then. Right now, I want you to create a one variable from each type and assign it and then display it. Then you are going to display byte variable is this, value is this. Likewise, quickly try out byte short, int long, float, double char, boolean. And then we will discuss what are the rules you should follow when declaring a variable name. And any errors if you have so far, please ask quickly. Send me the answer via chat, please. I want you to declare a variable from each type and assign a value and then display it. Quickly do it. Now what I'm going to show you is, right now, first of all, now let's get to the identifiers. Right now, when you are declaring a variable name, what are the things you need to remember? How can you remember the rules? What are the rules? Is there any rules associated with this? Right now, how can we access a variable or how to declare a variable? Then there should be a name for it. Then how can you use the variable names? Now that you call as identifier, because all the variables must identified with a unique name. Then this unique name you call it as an identifier. Right now, for an example, we have used string name. We declare variable called string type variable as name, integer variable called age. Now this is how you declare a variable. Now this is the name I have used. This is the name I have used. Right now this is what you call as an identifier. And sometimes you may use number 1, number 2, XY, likewise you may use. Right, therefore remember when you are using or when you are dealing with the variable names, always, right, always work with, always use a meaningful or understandable and maintainable names. Like for an example, if you use a variable name is let's say visitors name. Likewise, if you use a very big name or full name with surname and full name with initials or something like that. If you use a very lengthy things, then it will be very difficult for you to work with. Therefore, practically, you need to consider that as well how maintainable the identifier, how whether it is practical to use it. Likewise, therefore, let's go ahead and see what are the rules and regulations that you have to follow. Now, the first rule. Right now, let's say I'm going to have a variable called string name. I'm going to have name 1. Okay, can I have a variable called name 1? Let's compile and see. Right, name 1. Right now, when I try to use the variable 1 name as name 1, no worries, I can use it. But let's try to use it as one name. Can I start with a number? Now that's what I'm going to try out one name. Now you will see you have an error. Therefore, remember, write down variable name cannot start with the identifier, cannot start with the number, cannot start with the number. Right. Identifier cannot start with a number. Then what it would contain? Right now we have name 1. You can have both letters and the numbers, right? And then can I have an at sign also? Name 1 at. Right now you'll see you'll get an error. Like you can't use the at sign. Okay, can I use the dollar sign? Name $1. Right. Okay, you can use the dollar sign. Oh, can I use the underscore as well? Right, then that also allowed. Therefore, identifier may contain identifier can contain letter, number, or underscore and $sign. You can have a letter, a number, or can contains letters. You can have letters, numbers, underscore sign, and the $sign. And name must, like identifier must begin with the letter. Identifier must begin with the letter. It cannot start with a number, right? Right now, let's see whether you can start with the $sign. $name. Right now, you can see what you get, like interface, the number record expected identifier can contain letters, numbers, underscore dollar. Here we have an error. Yes, what is the error here? Because this has to be marked as a multi-line comment, because I have not put this as a multi-line comment. Therefore, let's make it as a multi-line comment. Right. Then you can see you can start with the $sign. Can you start with the underscore? You can see you can start with the underscore. And can you start with the number? No, you can't start with the number. You can't start with the number, you get an error. Therefore, you can't start with the number. Therefore, identifiers cannot start with the number. Right. Right, then can you start with the capital letters or the simple letters? No worries, yes, you can. Either you can have capital letter or either you can have simple letters as the identifier. No worries. But right now, if you have different right now what you call as we have different words, like if you have first name, likewise if you have multiple words right now to connect now first name. Now right now here if you have different that means if you have to connect multiple words together, either you could go with right now snake case, camel case, or like there are Pascal case, likewise we have. Now let's see. Right now you can't have let's say now around, okay, let's say we have variable called integer number of items. You have variable called number of items, but you can't have variable called number of items because you can't have spaces. Therefore now you can't see, you can't have spaces, therefore identifies no spaces, so white spaces allowed. No spaces allowed. Therefore, you can't have spaces. Therefore, if you try to get the spaces, it will give you an error. Therefore, now how to make this as a like valid one. Therefore, you can go ahead with the snake case. Snake case means here everything you can connect using underline. Right now here, you can use it as a snake case. Connecting, you have to separate each word by snake case means separate each word using underscore. Right. Right now that is what you call as a snake case. Right now thereafter we have right now then right now you can go to the camel case. The camel case means you start the first word with the simple letter. The camel case first word, or you can first word with start first word, start the first word lowercase, start the first word, first character, first letter. Start the first letter lowercase, then capitalize the right now you can say camel case means like this. Right now you start like this, number of items, right? Then here you start capital O, and here you start number of items. Right now you can use it as number of items. Right now what you do, start the first letter from second word onwards. As capital. Right, from the second word onwards, every first letter of the second word onwards, you make it as a right now capital. Now that is what you call as the camel case. And then we have the Pascal case. Pascal case means similar to the camel case. Right now, start first letter from the first word onwards as capital case. That means here, right now, even the first word also, right now, first letter of the word also, capital number of items, likewise. Therefore, that is how you could do it. Now, if you have multiple words to be connected as a multiple words as also multiple words as identifier, either you could use separate each word using underscore, or you can have all the words together with the second word onwards first character making as capital, or all the words first character making as a capital. Then that you call as snake case, camel case, and the Pascal case. Therefore, hereafter remember how can you declare, how can you work with the multiple word variable names. And as a habit, variable names, right now remember identifier should start with it is a should, right? Not a must. Should start with a lowercase letter. Right, as a habit, make sure you start with a lowercase letter. And then when you're declaring class, as a habit, make sure you start with a capital S letter. Right, and then this is a case sensitive. Variables are case sensitive and cannot use the reserved keywords, right? In Java, there are some set of keywords are reserved. Therefore, that those keywords cannot be used as a variable name. For an example, integer, boolean, public, class. Now these keywords cannot be used. Right, then remember identifiers cannot contain can contain letters, numbers, underscore, and dollar sign, but it cannot start with a number, no spaces allowed. Identifier should start with a lowercase letter, case sensitive, and cannot use the reserved keywords. Cannot use the reserved keywords. Right. Therefore, remember that in your mind. And then we are going to identifiers. Remember, identifiers must start with any letter of the alphabet, underscore, or a dollar sign. Next may be the letter, digit, dollar sign, or an underscore. There is no limit to the number of characters an identifier can contain. Cannot use the Java keywords as an identifier, and identifiers in Java are case sensitive. And there is no practical limit for variables, right? Remember that in your mind as well. Right, now the keywords, now you don't have to worry about the Java keywords, and you don't have to by heart these as well. Right, now so far we have seen static, we have seen void, we have seen main, we have seen, right, public, we have seen. Now, class keyword we have seen, like there are some keywords we have already used, and there are some we have to use. But therefore, remember that eventually you will get to know whether when you see a keyword, whether it is a keyword or not. Therefore, you don't have to worry at all. Right. Now, okay, let me ask you some questions right now. Right now, I'm asking whether the first one. Okay, quickly go through these variables and variable declarations and tell me, send me via chat whether the first one is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, likewise, you can put the names and then like now and tell me whether it is correct or not. Right now, tell me, send me your answer via chat whether one is right. If it is right, why? If it is wrong, why not? Likewise, send me via chat, please. Quickly, everyone, I want you to send it to me. Now, let's see the first one. Underscore A, is it valid or invalid? Is it valid or invalid? First one, underscore A, is it valid or invalid?
It is valid, sir, because there
It's
are
valid, right? Why it is valid?
because there is a underscore in
You start with an underscore. Is it okay? Can a variable name start with an underscore?
yes, sir.
Yes, right, good. Okay, thank you. The second one, the $C, is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Why is it?
Because dollar sign can we can save as
Right, you can start with the $sign. Right, third one. Right, now someone else please talk to me now. We have a few underscores, 2 underscore W. Is it correct?
yes, sir.
Okay, why is it?
So underscore can use rapidly in Java program.
Right. Okay, thank you. Vashit, fourth one. Underscore $. Is it correct, Vashit? Allowed?
It's
Not, sir.
not, sir.
It's not. Okay, why it is
Yeah.
not?
It can start with an underscore, but the second character should be a letter.
Uh, capital O, simple letter.
Right now, okay, we said that identifiers can start with the letter, can start with the underscore, can start with the $sign. Right, therefore, yes, it start with the underscore, fine. And the second character onwards, it could be a number, it could be a letter, it could be underscore, it could be a $sign. That's what we said. Therefore, yes, it could be anything. See, this is what we said. Right, where is it that identifiers can contain letters, numbers, underscore dollar, cannot start with a number. Then second character onwards, it could be a letter, number, underscore, dollar sign. Therefore, yes, you can have underscore and dollar sign. It is a valid one. Okay, the next one. And Helshi, what do you think? Fifth one, is it valid or not?
Valid, sir.
Why?
The variable starts with a letter.
Yes, the first character start with the letter, that's fine. And no spaces. And all the words are connected using underscore, fine. And there is no practical length. Where identifiers has no practical length. But that doesn't mean you have to assign variable names like this. Because why? There's a practical issues. When you have to use it again and again, it will take much time to write the variable name again and again. Therefore, by considering the practicability and the maintainability, you need to think about whether you're going to go with multiple or the lengthy variable or the identifiers. Right. Right. Now, sixth one. Then Kavisha, sixth one. What do you think, Kavisha? Colon B, is it true or valid? Kavisha was there, I'm disconnected, no? Right. Shavindi. What do you think, Shavindi? Colon B.
It is not valid, sir.
Not valid. You cannot start with an colon. Even if you have Shavindi B colon, start with B and then colon. Is it valid?
No.
No, you are not allowed to use it. Yes. And then Nipuna Vidarshana hyphen D. Nipuna hyphen D. Is it valid? Shamara hyphen D.
No, sir.
Sorry?
It's not valid, sir.
Cannot. You can no,
No.
can't. No, you
Can't.
can't. Yes.
No,
Why?
sir.
Why?
Because of the hyphen.
You can't start with the hyphen, or you can't have hyphen or the dash in anywhere on the identifier. Right. Eighth one. Right. Gamage. E hash. When your name is called, it's better to unmute first and then start talking. Right. Gamage. Even though your answer may be right, may be wrong, don't worry, just tell me, right or wrong, valid or invalid. That's it. Right, anyone please, rather wasting the time. E hash.
Wrong, sir.
Valid?
Not valid.
Why invalid?
There is character can't be signed with a letter.
Right, you can't, hash symbol is not allowed. Right, dot F. Dot F.
Invalid.
Invalid, yes. You can't start with a dot, or you can't have dot anywhere on an identifier. And last one, Rukshani, 7G.
Invalid.
Why Rukshan?
We can't start with a number.
Yes, you can't start with a number. You can't start with a number. Right, great, good. Therefore, the first few ones are the valid identifiers, and the second set is the invalid identifiers, illegal identifiers. Right, we have found out the reason, and the reason is colon not allowed, hyphen not allowed, hash not allowed, dot not allowed, cannot start with the number. Now, those were the rules. Therefore, remember the rules we have discussed. Identifier must start with any letter of the alphabet and underscore dollar sign. Next may be either letter, digit, or dollar sign or an underscore. No limit to the identifier, and you can't use Java keywords, and identifiers are case sensitive, right? Remember that. Then we are going to the variable assignment right now. Here we are going to assign values to the variables and see how to work with that. Right, then as the first thing I showed you, I asked you to create variables from each type and send it to me with the different variable types. Right now, for an example, you may have used, right now, let's use different types for some examples. Right now, we have string variables normally we use for the text in order to store text. Let's say Jane Doe. And integer variables we use basically for the, let's say, age, 10, we could use, and then let's say marks, float marks equals, you're gonna have, let's say 44.5f, because if it is a if you do not put f, it will be considered as a double value. Therefore, you need to append f at the end in order to make it as a double variable. And you can have double variable called price equals 45 or 159, okay, like this. And you can assign a variable as that. And we have string in float double. You can have character variable, character grade, characters assigned using single quotes, and then you have Boolean variable and Boolean, what do you call Boolean? Boolean variable as status, exam, Boolean, Boolean flag, variable for flag equals, you can have true or false values. Likewise, you can have right now we can have these variables. Right now the different types: name, age, marks, price, grade, flag. Likewise, you can have, now this is how you assign a string variable. String, that means what? A text, a word, and that is an integer variable, that means a whole number. Remember, it's a whole number. And floats variable, it's a decimal, floating point number, floating point number. And double, a decimal number, again it's a floating point number. And char, it's a character, and a Boolean variable, which is flag, which is a Boolean variable type. Right. Now this is how you assign or use different type of variable. Right. Yes.
So aren't we putting the semicolon after the Boolean value?
You have to. Yes, you have to. Right. It's a must. Yes. Right. Then this is how you assign the values into the different type of variables, and then this is how you use different type of variables. Right now, let's get back to talking about what are the primitive data types and how to work with. Right now, we said that there are 8 primitive data types. Now, can someone tell me what are the 8 primitive data types? What are the 8 primitive data types in Java?
Short, byte, long.
Yes,
Boolean,
we have discussed about byte. Then what else?
Boolean,
We have 4 integer data types: byte, short, int, long, and then
Boolean, byte, Boolean,
Then we have two floating point types, float and double. And then we have character types, and then we have the Boolean type. Right. Then what is the size of each variable? Right now, this is the data type of the variable. And then what is the size of the variable? Now, if it is a 1 byte, that means what is the size of a byte variable? Yes, it is 1 byte. If it is a short, what is the size of a short variable? That means if you declare variable with the type of byte, that means from the memory it takes 1 byte. If it is a short variable, then it will take 2 bytes from your memory. If it is an integer variable, it will take 4 bytes from your memory. And if it is a long variable, it will take 8 bytes from your memory. If it is a float variable, it will take 4 bytes from your memory. If it is a double variable, it will take 8 bytes from your memory. If it is a char variable, it will take 1 bit. It will take only one. Sorry, if it is a char variable, it will take char variable, not 1 bit. Oh, ASCII value going to be 2 bytes. It will take 2 bytes from your memory. And if it is a Boolean variable, either you need to display true or false, therefore either 0 or 1, therefore we can have 1 bit. Right, therefore true or false, therefore it will be 1 bit because it stores true or false values. Right now byte variable, what are the values it could hold? Right now you don't have to remember the range. Right now it will be can hold whole numbers from minus 128 to plus 127 because only 1 byte. 1 byte means how many bits? How many bits? 1 byte means how many bits? Sadhvana, 1 byte means how many
8
bits?
bits.
8 bits, exactly, 8 bits, yes. Then 2 bytes means 16 bits, right? Yes, then you don't have to remember the values, even I can't remember now, 32,000 something. I guess 767, yes, I can't remember the rest. Right, then for the integer and long, I can't remember. Right now, the float, I think these are fractional numbers which you can, or that is floating point numbers up to most probably 6 to 7 decimal points. And like if it is a floating point numbers, you have 6 to 7 floating point numbers, and again maybe around 15 to 16 decimal points numbers, right? And if it is long, and then characters use ASCII codes or Unicodes basically. ASCII values and then Unicodes. Java use Unicodes as well. And then therefore it uses single character at a time. ASCII Unicode of a single character, either true or false. And then it store either true or false only. Right. Likewise, you will store. Right now, let's see how to work with these data types and see. Right. Now, variable types, we have discussed that there are 2 types of variables. Those we can name as primitive data types and the reference data types. Primitive data types, there are 8 primitive data types we discussed. We have byte short, int long, float double, char boolean. And we have reference variables. That means string is a reference variable that is used to refer to an object. That means a reference variable is used to refer to an object. A reference variable is declared to be of a specific type, and that type can never be changed. A reference variable. And then we're going to talk about the primitive data types. Boolean variables used to display true false values. Byte is an 8-bit integer. Character char means used to store characters. Double for double precision floating points. Float, single precision floating point. Int, integers. Long integer. Short integers. Right now from that you can see byte, short, int, long are integer types, or in order to use the whole numbers we use it. And then the Java defines 4 integer types as byte, short, int, long. And as I given, byte is a 1-byte variable, short is a 2-byte variable, integer is a 4-byte variable, long is an 8-byte variable. Therefore, in bits, you can say 1 byte means 8 bits, 2 bytes means 16 bits, 3 bytes means, 4 bytes means 32 bits, and 8 bytes means 64 bits, and the range also given here. Then you don't have to worry about the range. And this is how you declare the variables. And then let's see how to declare some variables. And then see, right now I'm gonna assign a byte variable. Let's say byte b is equals to, let's say, 100. Now byte b equals 100, and then if I print this, system.out.println, and then b. Right now here I'm gonna print the byte variable b. Right now you can see a number of items. Where you get this? No, it will compile, no? Java. Right now it gives me 100 as the answer for this byte variable. Now let's make it as 200. Now obviously you know the byte cannot hold 200, right? Because byte variable cannot hold 200. Therefore now I'm gonna print 200. Right now let me compile and see, then you will get an error saying losing conversion from integer to byte, because byte cannot hold 200. Right now, if it is a byte variable 200, then you better go ahead with the short variable. Now, no worries, you could assign it to a short variable. Let's see. Yes, you can see short variable. And for the short variables, let's say I'm gonna assign 40,000. Right now, if I try to assign 40,000 to a short variable, now let me compile. Then it will say possible losing conversion from integer to short. Therefore, now 40,000 cannot hold in a short variable. Therefore, now I can make it as an integer variable. Now let's try to assign it as an integer variable. Yes, you can see it get compiled. And then if I try to assign a number something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Let's say, yeah, if I try to assign this number, now you can say it says integer number too large. Now I'm gonna try to assign. Therefore, it's better to go with the large long variable. And let's say if I try to go ahead with the long, right now you can say here it also mentioned integer number too large, because I need to mention this is a long type of variable. Right now I have to append L in order to mention this as a long variable, and then you can say this is a long variable, and then it gets assigned as a long variable, and then I could print it. Now this is what you can see. Each variable, what can it hold? Integer 8 bits, short 16 bits, int 32 bits, and long 64 bits. And these are the ranges that you could remember, that you could use. Right. Now, let's see, we'll do some few questions with this. Now we know which variables to use. Now when you're dealing with numbers, right, if it is dealing with whole numbers, you have to use it. Right now, basically byte, short, int, long, likewise. Therefore, yeah, generally we use the byte integer variables because it can handle a good range of values, and it takes only 4 bytes, right? Then I'm gonna have a variable called x. equals 10, and I'm gonna have variable y, integer y is equals 20. Right. And then if you want, you can have integer sum is equals to x plus y. Likewise, you could display, and then you could display the total is sum. You could display likewise. Now I want you to try out for the other operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Perform these operations and then send me the answer via chat. Then to display total is 30, and then what is the subtraction, what is the product, and what is the ratio. I want to see those answers as well. Quickly try out and send it to me. Right now, let's declare some variables and see. Okay, then sum and the product, multiplication and subtraction and the division. Product, subtraction, and then the division. Total, and then product is, and the subtract difference is, and the ratio of the division. All right, now here it should be multiplication, here it should be sub, and it should be div. Right, likewise it should be, and then let's compile it and see how we're gonna get the answers. Right. Okay, let's use println method, it's easier. Right now, this is how we're gonna get the answer right now. Ratio become 0 and the product is 200, and then can someone explain it to me why the ratio is 0? Okay, you have done the modulus as well. Okay, let me do the modulus part as well. Right, and then we're gonna do the modulus mod. Right, okay, can someone tell me why this the ratio is 0 and then the remainder is 10? Can someone explain it to me? Why the total is 30? Yes, 10 plus 20 is 30. 10 into 20 is 200. 10 minus 20 is minus 10. 10 divided by 20 is what? Hello, 10 divided by 20 is what? 10 divided by 20 is what? Yes, Rukshani? Cannot hear Buddha. I can't hear you. 0.5. I don't know the reason, but I can't hear you. Can someone tell me 10 divided by 20 is should be what?
So 0.5.
Then why it doesn't display? Why it doesn't display 0.5? It just displays 0, no? Why?
Because it's a integer.
It's an integer, then integer can contain only whole numbers, therefore therefore you cannot have decimal values, is it?
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
0 is
Then shall I make it as a float then?
yes.
Okay, I have converted it as a float. Then try out changing it to a float and see how it works, and then tell me.
0.5.
Are you getting 0.5?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, now tell me please. If you make it as a float, will it make a difference in your answer? That means, did you get 0.5 as the answer?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Why is it? Now I don't get 0.5 as the answer. Then what do you think? What would be the reason? Right. The reason here is, remember that please. Okay, if you just talk about the maths, if you add plus value with a plus value, what it's gonna be? A plus value, right? If you multiply it by positive value with a positive value, it would be a positive value. If you subtract positive value, then answer could be positive or negative, right? Therefore, likewise, then if you work with integers, integer with an integer will always result as an integer. When you work with an integer, the result always will be an integer. Therefore, integer division here, x is an integer value, y is an integer value. Therefore, integer divided by an integer will always be an integer, right? But now, for an example, if x equals 15 and if the y equals 2 or something, and then you get like, now let's see what's going to be the answer we're going to get right now. 15 and 2. Right now, you will see the total is 17, product is 35, the difference is 13, the ratio of 15 divided by 2 should be 7.5, but the 0.5 cannot be whole, right? Therefore, that's why as an integer divided by an integer will be whole, only the whole value, then 15 divided by 2 going to be 7. Even this is int variable, rather making it as a float variable, then it would display it as just 7. It would just display as 7. Right, then 7, the remainder value is 15 divided by 2 is 7 times 2 is 14, the remaining value is 1, therefore remainder is 1. That is how you get the answer. Therefore, remember, when you uh, when you deal with an integer values, integer divided by an integer will always be an integer, integer with multiplied by an integer will always be an integer, integer with an integer, integer add with an integer will always be an integer. Right, therefore remember that in your mind. Right, now I have a question that you need to think and then find the answer. Send me the answer via chat, please. Take your time and then do it and send it to me via chat. Right, let's see what does it say. All right, the near number of cubic inches contained in a cubic mile. Right, then inches per mile. Inches per foot is 12. Inches per foot is 12. And foot, feet per mile. Feet per mile is 5,280. And then I need what? Inches in a inches per mile. Inches per mile is equals inches per foot multiplied by feet per mile, right? And then cubic inches, then integer cubic inches, cubic inches per mile. The answer is equals inches per mile multiplied by inches per mile multiplied by inches per mile. And I can say number of cubic inches there are, or you can say answer times cubic inches cubic mile. Number of cubic inches in a cubic mile. Okay, let's see. Let's run it and see whether what's going to be the output. Right now, I got this answer. Right, that number of cubic inches in a cubic mile. Right, how many of you got this answer? Right now, here. Twelve into 5,280 is 63,360 into 63,360 into 63,360. Right. Now I'm getting this much of number when I multiply. Right, then which one is the correct one? Whether it is the first one or what we got from the command prompt or from the calculator. What do you think? Which one is the correct one? And why does it give us this answer and how to correct it? Think and tell me quickly. Okay, quickly tell me.
First, we use integer sign
Sorry, Uday?
because we use integer sign.
Because we use the integers. Then where I want you to, where
Long.
do you want me to use the long?
For
Here?
long is long IPM equals
Here?
yeah, and also
Here.
answer line. Yeah, the both
Right.
line.
What if I use long here? But no luck. And then if I change it to here as well, you will see you are getting a different answer. Right now, can someone explain it to me? Why we got the different answers? When this was an integer, why we got a different answer? And when this was mentioned as a long, why we get a different answer? Why?
Due to the range of integer and long.
Yes, now previously when it was an integer, like as I told previously, integer multiplied by an integer will always be an integer. If this is an integer, then this is going to be integer multiplied by an integer multiplied by an integer will always be an integer. That's why you will end up by this answer even though the destination is a long answer. But if it is a long variable, now a long multiplied by long multiplied by long is a long answer. Now that's why you get the correct answer. Therefore, now remember, when you are using the data types, you have to be very careful. If you do not use the exact one, which you have to use, you will end up by getting the wrong answers, right? Therefore, you have to make sure that you will use the exact data type, right? Is that clear, everyone? Are you all okay with this? Yes? Right. Then you could do it like this. Now, and floating point types, right now, then we'll go into the floating point types. The float is, right, single precision floating points, and the double means double precision floating points, right? Then float is 32 bits wide, that means 4 bytes, and the double is 64 bytes. Right now, what I want you to do is, if the user has, let's say, marks right now for the subject one, if user has got 15 point, okay, let's say subject one got 48.5 and subject 2 75.3 and subject 3 as so 50.5, and I want you to, and let's say 30, and then I want you to calculate average mark and then display the average mark. Calculate and display the average mark. Quickly do it. Right, the answers I have received. Let's see. Let's say, okay. We have floating point number 1, number 2, number 3, and then sum, and then average equals sum divided by 3. Right, great, good. Right, let's see how the answer goes. Then it shows me average is this. Right. Okay. Right. And then in Java, there is a method called, right, if you want to calculate the square root value, right, now there is a way of doing it. Right now, the square root value can be calculated using a inbuilt function, right, but that will return a double value. Now that will return a double value. Now for an example, double D is equal, I can have using math dot square root, from the math dot square root, if I say 16, then that would return the answer. Square root of 16 is root of 16 is likewise. Now you can have the calculate the square root value. Like here, you can change the value and see if it is one. If you want 120, let's say if you want to calculate the square root value, that you could do it like this. Right now, you know, I think already you may have heard about this Pythagoras theorem, right? You may have heard about it. Right, then here, if it is a right angle triangle, it will give you, if you know the x and the y values, and then you can find the z value by getting the square root of x squared plus y squared, right? Because you know that already, I think you may have already learned that x squared plus y squared equals z squared. Therefore, z is equals to square root of x squared plus y squared. C is equals to square root of x squared plus y squared. Therefore, using this, you could find the z value. Right now, let's assume x equals 3 and if y equals 4, what's going to be the z value? Okay, quickly find out and send me the answer via a chat. Quickly send me. Right now, you have sent me the answers. Let's check. Right, if it is x equals 3 and y equals 4, then h equals square root x into x plus y into y. Good. And then here you calculate. Right now, this is the bracket for this, and then this is an extra bracket that I have copied. Right, and then let's see. Then it should give you 3 and 4. If it is x equals 3, y equals 4, then yes, that is 5.0, right? Okay, because it returns a double value. Now, because this gives us a double value, that's why you will end up by having an answer like this. Right, now this is how you do it. Right now, okay, around 10 has sent me the answer, and then this is how we get the answer, right? And then here, this is how you do it, right? And now I want you to quickly go through the Java characters. Therefore, quickly figure out what is the ASCII value and what is the Unicode. All right. Okay. Okay, please. Okay, now today I have to wind up by now. Therefore, next week we will discuss about the characters. Then for that, I want you to find out and come what is an ASCII value. Okay, please search and come, right? What is an ASCII, and what is an ASCII, and what is Unicode, and what's the difference between ASCII and Unicode, and why do we use ASCII versus why do we use Unicodes, and what are the advantages, and how we can represent capital A to C using ASCII values, and how we represent A to C using Unicode values, simple A to C using Unicode values as well as ASCII values. How to do that and figure out and come. Thereafter, we will discuss about the characters, and then we will discuss about the Boolean values, and thereafter we can start with the operators. Right. Any questions up to now we have done? Please ask now. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up today. Any questions? If you have, please ask now.